welcome to the Desmond Oval for this the 11th game in the BIM 10 cricket competition. If you are here for the first time, welcome to you. If you are returning, welcome back here to the Oval, the home of the Carlton Cricket Club, for this encounter between the Settlers and the Pelicans. I can tell you that the Settlers have won the toss and they have decided to bowl first. The Settlers, captained by Jamal Warrican, and the Pelicans by Carlos Rapid. The umpire for this one, Ryan Willoughby and Sheena Welch. Sorry, Dave Thompson is going with Willoughby and the match referee Orlando Village. Let me take this opportunity to wish all of you a very prosperous 2024, health, strength, and wealth, and may all your dreams and aspirations come to fruition. So as the umpires make their way out into the middle, Thompson and Willoughby, the settlers, led by Jamal Warrington, they're also about to make their way onto the field, and the opening pair for the Pelicans, Teron Gibson and Cheyenne Bradford. It's going to be Chucky Marshall starting from the northern end, and he will be bowling to Cheyenne Bradford.
Milton Keynes Oval for BIM 10 cricket action. Happy New Year to all of you. It's certainly a pleasure to have you back here in beautiful Bridgetown, Barbados, for what is match number 11 of this year's tournament. It's a case of the Pelicans taking on the Settlers. The Settlers, they won the toss and opted to field first. Those Settlers being led by the undefeated skipper in Jamel Warrican. The only undefeated side thus far in this year's competition. Shake Marshall with a ball in hand to bowl the first delivery. And it produces the first runs of the day. Good afternoon, Nikhil. A pleasure to have you in 2024. How was your whole years?
It was brilliant. I just watched a lot of BIM 10. What a way to celebrate the new year. But no, great to be here, Joel. I think the fact that these players have got a taste of this tournament in the first 5 days, and now we move into pretty much the business end, couple group stage days left, and then into the playoffs should be exciting.
Yeah, in terms of opening the batting for the Pelicans, it's Cheyenne Brathwaite and Teron Gibson. Two batters have done relatively well so far for the Pelicans, being led by the very experienced Carlos Brathwaite. They'll be hoping they can get another victory here in this year's competition.
Yeah, I think definitely Teron Gibson has impressed me. The strides that he's made always has been pretty consistent in the red ball format, but to see the stroke play a couple of days ago, he got that 30 odd and really in quick time in the power play. They've obviously trusted him enough, head coach Floyd Reefer and Carlos Brathwaite, to send him up the order, trying to maximize on the fielding restrictions. So let's see how it goes.
Well, that is crunched and will produce the first boundary of the day.
Yeah, Brathwaite is really strong on the sweep. We saw it the first delivery of the over, but didn't get it past that man at mid-wicket. Kadeem Aline is there. That time, though, I think he waited on it a bit more and was able to position it in front of square. Good boundary to start.
Yeah, good boundary indeed. Quite fast hands, Cheyenne Brathwaite. Very strong coming towards his very short leg side boundary. Oh, that looks good. And the finger tells the story. The innings of Cheyenne Brathwaite has come to an end.
Yeah, Shake Marshall has quickly become a real go-to option in the power play. One of the best options we've seen in this tournament, because he's bowled some really high pressure overs against some quality batters and been able to get them out whilst he's been under the attack. He has that much quicker delivery like we just saw, and it almost caught Brathwaite by some surprise. So really good start for this Settlers team, who continue to be the best batting team in the power play, the best bowling team in the power play as well.
Yeah, well, Brathwaite, he goes for 5 from 2 deliveries. In fact, 5 from 3. It's 6 for 1.
Yeah, brings Jonathan Drix to the middle. He will be quite an important member for this batting lineup, with a lot of power still to come.
This Settlers side coming off the back of what was a very good win against the only other undefeated team at that stage, the Guardians. And it was really the bowling performance that got them over the line. And Shake Marshall, he picked up 2 in that last one. At the end of the first over, it's 6 for 1.
So the score after the first over, Pelicans being asked to pick first up by the Settlers. 6 for 1. Gibson is on 1. It's not yet off the mark. It's going to be Daniel Cumberbatch from the Southern area, and he will be bowling to Gibson.
Afternoon. Happy New Year to you, sir. How are you?
I'm fantastic, Andrew. You came in beaming with that usual smile.
Indeed. And it certainly is an interesting start. 6-1, the Pelicans. See what Dario Komabach will take it up. Know him pretty well. Plays for my club, St. Catherine's. Pretty sharp. As we start over number 2. Well, that's kicked into the boundary. Perhaps he hasn't seen Ronaldo or Messi, but really made a mess of that, and that's gone for a boundary.
Yeah, body line delivery there to get things started from Kamabacha. Just back of a length, but just heading towards that leg side. Work to be done, obviously, with that man running around from deep backward square leg. Did the hard yards, as they would say, but couldn't get that body down to stop that one, and it trickles into the boundary.
Gibson is a good player. Plays for Spartan in the local competition. Highly, in my view, underrated cricketer. Good keeper.
A bit of movement on offer at the top here for Kamabach. And that inward movement is what's taking it towards that leg side. Has protection though in the form of a deep backward square leg, and a man actually at deep square leg as well. In fact, now a change being made, and that man at square leg comes in and long on now drops back onto the boundary. So probably might be looking to just be a bit fuller now to the likes of Jonathan Drakes.
Yeah, Drakes, who's a good player, no doubt about that. So many good players in Barbados. Getting a chance to be exposed at this level.
Didn't get off the mark in the last one. Jonathan Drake was actually run out without facing delivery. In fact, the top order struggled quite a bit for the Pelicans in the last one. Cheyenne Brathwaite got to 25, but the bulk of the runs for them came down in the bottom of things with the likes of Mario Albert and Carlos Brathwaite getting 33 and 42 respectively. So a chance here for the top order to make good on that last match that they had versus the Warriors. We're chasing in that particular encounter.
Good comeback by Kamabat as well. He conceded the boundary and just trying to finish strongly here.
Yeah, much better in terms of finding the line and length, you would probably say. Not offering much room at all for Drake. Just tucking him up, but worked quite nicely into the leg side to get him off the mark this time around.
Very well played, beautifully timed, and will run away for 4. That's, for me, the shot of the day in terms of placement and in terms of time, and beautifully done by Gibson.
Yeah, from a coach's perspective, that is what you consider to be that correct cricket from Gibson. Really got on top of the bounce, just opened the face. It was really just about that timing factor, you know, especially in shorter form, and a lot of guys go for that power. It was really just about that timing from him. Got on top, as I mentioned, opened that face quite nicely. And in terms of the outfield here at the Desmond Haynes Oval, it was certainly going to run away as long as it got past that man at backward point.
So the second over comes to an end. It's 17 for 1.
Yeah, very productive over there for the Pelicans. 11 runs coming from that over. And certainly start that they'll be looking for, especially on the back of losing Cheyenne Brathwaite, who I mentioned really got them off to what you could consider to be a flyer in the face of the wickets that they had in that previous encounter versus the Guardians. But a fantastic view of what is a lovely venue here at the Desmond Haynes Oval. A couple spectators gathered to join us here for this first of two matches. What is the first cricketing day of the year in Barbados.
So Marshall to continue. And we'll be looking for a second here, should get it comfortably. Marshall plays for Empire in the local Division 1 competition. In fact, they won the championship last year. Tremendous end to the season. And congratulations to them, the home of champions. Get another couple of runs here as well. Very busy player is young Gibson. Very tiny as well, but times the ball beautifully. And we earlier spoke about his keeping. He's a good cricketer. It's very well bowled by Marshall, keeping it tight. They'll get a second, bit of sloppy work. But in the end, they come back for the second. The rate is now 9.69. And Marshall has been decent so far. He's got the big snap. He's gotten rid, as you said, of Brathwaite, who's a very, very dangerous batsman. Very well bowled indeed. And he's been given. Umpire Willoughby had a long look at that and gave it. So, more success for Marshall. He's now picked up his second wicket. It's now 23 for 2.
A very interesting one on that particular occasion. Looks as if the ball came back off the keeper on to the stumps, given that I saw it was a square leg umpire. But we're going to get a better view of it here. Yeah, off of the keeper, back onto the stumps, and it looks as if that back foot just slightly lifted into the air. Square leg umpire judged it out, and well, that is the second one down. Pelicans now 23 for 2.
Yeah, good bowling by Marshall. Decent off spinner. So Maria Albert is the new batsman. Plays for Police in the local competition. In fact, Police, a side that dominated in local cricket. Remember them winning the championship on 3 consecutive occasions. Now they don't play at the elite level. They play at the first division level. And Albert has had the experience of playing football for Barbados as well. Decent player. He comes to just steady things a bit because it's been a good show so far by the Settlers.
Yeah, it certainly has been, and reminiscent of that last game that they played versus the Guardians as well, where they kept things tight at the start.
We'll look for a second and we'll get it too as well. Had they been alert, they might have gotten a third as a result of some sloppy work.
Yeah, very interesting to see that Mario Albert actually has been elevated slightly in the batting order as well. I mentioned the fact that he was one of the run scorers for them in that previous game, getting 33 from 26 to get them over the line in terms of their chase versus the Warriors.
Oh, that's a good hit. Very well played indeed. That's gone. Over square leg. That's a huge hit. Well played. The maximum.
Well, he had form in 2023, and he's brought it here now to 2024 as Mario Albert cleaning up that one and depositing it towards us here in the pavilion. That's the end of 3. It's a 29 for 2.
Lots of construction going on here at Carlton. Of course, the club that the Honourable Desmond Haynes would have represented. But let's have a look at that. So very well played, lots of power.
Yeah, certainly. It was just slightly over pitched to maybe from Shaq Marshall, but in the end, actually a fantastic shot from Mario Albert, who I mentioned is really bringing that form that he had in the last game here. Just had to work it, give it some elevation, given the strong breeze that we have blowing towards us here. And it was a fantastic shot in the end.
So Derek Cumberbatch continues.
Starts with a wide there, but you're seeing similar tactics being employed here by the skipper Jamel Warrican in terms of bowlers bowling those back-to-back overs, was something that we talked about in the previous match to this.
As I said, Cumberbatch represents St. Catherine's, a side that was demoted 2 years ago, and they now play at the first division level, hoping to go to elite. Last year it didn't happen. In fact, Pickwick, club that has done pretty well. Congratulations to them.
It was quite impressive. It was Cumberbatch in that previous match as well. Just went over what was roughly about, let's say, about 7 runs or so per over in that last match. Also picked up a very crucial wicket as well in that game. And he was part of the reason why that Guardian side were unable to really get off to Flyer Guardian side, who actually has been doing quite well with the bat. And certainly in terms of the bowling performance so far, as I mentioned before, is reminiscent of that particular game. Looking at 33 for 2 now.
That's gone a long way. That's going to go maximum. You can't bowl that. Meat and drink really. Helped over that backward square. That's gone for 6. Very well played indeed.
A fantastic shot there from John Hendricks. It's that initial movement from him that really set up that particular delivery. Looking to, I guess, take Cumberbatch off the lengths that he's been bowling. Taking what was a step towards that offside. Opening up the leg side field, which is actually quite vacant, given that there's only a man at square leg back on the boundary. Whipped it away. A lovely shot for him.
You're right in terms of the description, because he actually walked across the stumps and played it beautifully. He's trying to upset the ball, and he was successful there. Now, how will Cumberbatch respond to this? He responded with a delivery that was pretty sharp. That's the typical fast bowler's response to being hit. That was bowled with a lot more pace.
Yeah, back of a length on that particular occasion. Drake's looking to go towards that leg side. Again, might have been better served, especially given the width that was on offer from that particular delivery. Coming towards the offside, just probably needed a bit of bat onto it, given that the field is quite tight on the offside at the moment in terms of a point, and a man had a short cover.
More runs. What a shot. Just in front of the boundary at backward point, but that was it with tremendous power again. And this has proven to be a very good over indeed for the Pelicans.
Yeah, very good over indeed. That initial adjustment, once again, making you feel as if Drakes was going towards the leg side. Cumberbatch, though, looked to push the ball just a touch wider, having seen that movement. But once again, the fact that the offside field is quite tight on the ring, just needed it back onto it. He got enough, and Drakes is racing away at the moment.
He is indeed. He's looked good. 44 for 2. 10 overs available. You would want to, given a rate of 11.48, would want to try and better that and try to get a pretty decent score. They've got a good platform despite losing 2 wickets. They've got 2 very capable batsmen at the crease in Albert and Drakes.
Yeah. It appears as if there might be 1 delivery left in this one.
Seems to be some confusion, yes. Now, will they have that ball? The umpires did, in fact, call over. And a long-range conversation between the umpires. umpire Thompson and umpire Willoughby, and they will bowl that last ball. So 3 overs and 5 balls. So the over will be completed.
In the context of the game, every ball matters in this 10-over format. So the last ball of the power play, the last ball whereby only 2 fielders will be allowed outside of the circle. You just wonder if Jonathan Drakes will continue in similar fashion in terms of looking to capitalize on these fielding restrictions. A bit of a change being employed in field at the moment as well. That offside is being strengthened in terms of the fielders on the ring.
So Cumberbatch will bowl that last delivery. No doubt Drakes will be on the hunt here. We shall see. Lovely weather after some early morning rains. Now, that was banged in. The umpire was happy with the height and had some good pace as well. So 4 gone, 44 for 2.
You would have to say a very good power play here for the Pelicans. Losing 2 wickets, yes, but looking at 44, I believe they'll be relatively happy with that, especially when you look back at a couple of the power plays over the tournament. You've seen 32, you've seen 40 or so, but a fantastic batting display at the moment from them. Gibson getting to 17 and then being dismissed that ball, fortunately or unfortunately for him, just rebounding off the keeper. But Drakes and Albert at the moment doing the job required, and they'll be looking to push on, especially given the batting power that they have there in the likes of Carlos Brathwaite, in terms of Posada and Bishop to come as well. Those guys will be looking to obviously hit it big, but if they can continue in terms of Drakes and Albert at the moment, I do believe that you're looking at something in the range of 110, 120 for them.
So it's going to be Kevin Stout to take it up. Very experienced at this level, plays a lot of cricket now in the United States. Former Barbados all-rounder, former Barbados captain as well, and knows this ground very well. In fact, he lives next door to the ground. And we start over number 5. Here's Kevin Stout. And with that, have the legs to get to the boundary. Oh, I think the fielder might have just... No, he did, unsuccessful. Got his foot to it, but the ball actually went over the rope. So an effort that was in vain. So first ball, a boundary. And it was badly lined as well.
Stout certainly will not be happy with that one, especially given the field that he has. Full and down the leg side, honestly, is a Christmas present for any batter, especially the likes of Albert, who is 13 from 4 at the moment.
And the football not as good as it should be. Much better line and length on that occasion. That wasn't the off stump. We want to stay away from that leg stump. Albert, we know, is very strong in that area. Stout knows that. He's a very experienced campaigner and one who served his country with distinction. That's very well played indeed. Beautifully played. And we'll get a second. A bit wide. Had to stretch for that.
Just accommodating Stout for the adjustment of Jonathan Drakes, who at the moment is just moving around the crease, looking to unsettle the bowlers. And it's honestly brilliant thinking by Drakes at the moment. Obviously, in terms of Stout, he'll be looking for these batters to hit him back down the ground towards the bigger boundaries.
No, that's a good hit. That's a very good hit indeed. Was not phased by the change of pace. It was a slow ball. But you waited on it, Drakes, and hit it. That's gone down to long on. That's gone for boundary. Very well played indeed. And he's actually batted pretty well, Drakes.
Yeah, certainly execution, honestly, is what was the difference maker there for him. The adjustment in terms of waiting, because it was a pace-off delivery from Kevin Stout.
Oh, that's a poor delivery. And that's been put away. Over square leg. Might not have hit it the way he wanted, but had enough on it to go over the fielder's head. Marshall at square leg, that's gone for 6.
And once you get the elevation here at the Desmond Haynes Oval, it certainly will travel, especially coming towards us here at the pavilion, and the wind taking it down. And certainly from the time it hit back, you knew that it was going to produce a positive result for him. Drake's here at the moment, rampaging 24 from 11, and it's giving now the Settlers something to think about, especially given that Stoke was not used by a skipper in the last one.
And already 17 runs off the over. So an over in which Stoke conceded 18 runs, a good over for the Pelicans. 5 gone, 62 for 2.
A very expensive over for them, especially on the back of that power play. You're telling yourself that captain would telling himself, okay, I have more outside the field now. I'm able to control things just a bit better. But Jonathan Drake's fantastic batting once again by him. Those initial movements truly setting the bowlers off. Cumberbatch, he went for 24 from his 2, and Stoke 18. Shaquem Marshall, the wicket taker so far, picking up the 2 wickets of the day. But looking at 62 for 2, that's certainly a platform that any team at the halfway stage certainly will be happy with in this tournament.
You won't think so. Wickets are in hand, and no doubt we'll be looking to press on the accelerator. Kamari Boyce, who actually plays for the champions of last year at the highest level in Barbados, elite, and was very much a part of the action in terms of being an important cog in the wheel. Comes into the attack. Left arm orthodox, would have also represented Barbados as well at the regional level. We start over number 6.
A bit of a fumble means that they're able to get back for 2 on that particular occasion. Kamari Boyce is very economical, and that's something that you've come to know about him, especially across the limited overs format. Picked up 1 in the last game, went at just about a running ball in his last game. So he'll be hoping he can do something similar here, especially to these right-handed batters.
Generally has good control, Kamari Boyce. Started pretty well here. Trying to avoid those boundaries. Just trying to pull the Pelicans back a bit. It's just only conceded 4 runs. So they want to finish strongly here. And what's pretty obvious to me is that he's not giving the ball lots of it. He's been very flat. Just trying to be just defensive. And so far has bowled well. One to come. So just conceded 6 runs in the over, and you take that any day. So 6 gone, 68 for 2.
Yeah, they'll certainly take that 6 off the over of Kamari Boyce. What was really interesting to see about it, especially on this occasion, was how he varied that pace. A lot of those out there in terms of Albert and Drake's been trying to slog him towards that leg, so because of the lack of pace on it, have not been successful in terms of the timing of it. They'll be hoping that somebody now at the other end can partner Kamari Boyce now. Appears they're definitely probably going to have a bowling change on the back of that Kevin Stoke over, which went for 18.
Yeah, one would think Stoke will not bowl. And in fact, a change is made. Marshall has conceded 20 from his 2 last over. Last couple of deliveries would have been very disappointed. But generally, bowling pretty okay. We start over number 7 now, 68 for 2. And Drake says, look good. He's got 29 from 16. And Albert, we know, is a very capable player.
Yeah, Zidane Clark is going to be a new bowler. A bit more pace than Stout on offer here now. Probably might be looking to go into the surface a bit more as well, given that pace factor that he carries.
Yes, he's pretty nippy. Setters would really want to try and pull things back here. The rate is 11.19. And we just want to bring it down and restrict them to maybe just over 100, 110, 120. We shall see. Oh, absolutely brilliant. He was completely befuddled by that. Change of pace paid early, and his stumps are disturbed, and you've got to give Clark kudos there for a wonderful piece of bowling.
Absolutely wonderful from him. We talked about the fact that given that additional pace factor, he might be going to the surface. He said no. He went for that change of pace and totally deceived John Hendricks, who was looking to work it towards the leg side, but that dip, because of the lack of pace on delivery, allows it to sneak under the bat. That's a wicket there for him. I talked about the fact that they'll be looking for somebody to partner at the other end, and Zidane Clark has come up trumps for them. It's now 69 for 3 Drakes. He goes for 29 from 17.
So Ravindra Prasad comes to the crease. Now here's a batsman who's extremely dangerous. I've seen a lot of him. Plays for Yorkshire in the local competition. That's at the elite level in Barbados. And in fact, I had a chance to see him, 2 or 3 weeks ago in the last match against Wildy. And he certainly hit the ball all over the place. A very dangerous batsman. He's got a couple of hundreds at the local level. And comes at a time where he really wants to press on the accelerator very, very quickly here. He's certainly very capable.
Yeah, quite a capable young man indeed is Ravindra Prasad. Has been around the local circuit for many years, striking it long and far.
Had he been quicker, he might have gotten a second there. Just to feel that backward square had to move a long way across to the right. So Clark has started well. 3 deliveries, a wicket, and just conceding 2 runs. So it's been a good little period for the Settlers in that the last over bowled by Boyce just produced 6 runs. Oh, more success. Good bowling by Clark. And Albert goes a big swing at that, losing his stumps. This has been a good period for the Settlers, and all of a sudden, the Pelicans are 70 for loss of 4. Look at that. Beautifully bowled indeed. And might have been deceived by a slightly slow ball. And that represents a decline by the Pelicans, because all of a sudden, they find themselves in a spot above that 70 for 4.
Yeah, the ship here is starting to rock just a bit for them, Albert. Playing all around that delivery from Zidane Clark. Straight the stumps. Bales removed. And he has got to go.
Well, in fact, when you look at that, beautifully bowled indeed. And playing across it, losing his off stump in the process. And good work by Clark. Now, Carlos Brathwaite, remember the name? Here he comes to the crease. How can we forget? 2016, 4 consecutive sixes for the West Indies. And a year that we'll always remember. West Indies, the women, the under 19, and the senior team winning. Now here's Clark to bowl to Brathwaite. Might have had a chance for a run out there, but the feel that short third man there didn't pick it up cleanly. Bit of hesitation. So what will Brathwaite do here? He comes out at a time when 2 things have happened. They've lost wickets, and that rate, which was pretty close to 12, is now down to 10.39. And Dan Clark has been brilliant. He's picked up 2 wickets already. With 1 to come, he's also just conceded 3 runs.
Well, last game, he certainly set the Parker light, getting 42 from 14 with 3 fours and 4 sixes. And I'll be hoping that he can replicate something similar here.
Oh, he bowls him! What kind of shot was that from Passad? I don't know I can describe that. It was a nothing shot, and Clark is in dreamland. This has been an absolutely superb piece of bowling. Let's have a look at this.
Well, he stepped across, made that initial movement to get that one down towards the vacant fine leg area, exposed his stumps too much on that particular occasion, Prasad. And, well, it's 3 wickets in the over for Zidane Clark. He now has figures of 3 for 3 from that over. And, well, things have gone from bad to worse for the Pelicans.
Yep, indeed. And what will be the ploy here be? Because they're losing wickets quickly. And that rate has gone down. Carlos Brathwaite is going to have to do something about this. But this is good bowling. And trying to be cute, really. Maybe he's watching too much T20 cricket on television. Those who try to do it, they do it much better. Look very ugly, look very awkward there. Passad and loses his stumps. Wouldn't want to see that in primetime sports today, I can assure you. So Eiffel is the new batsman who's come to the crease. And that's gone through. We'll have the legs to get to the boundary. It goes for 4, a bad bounce, and put away by Carlos Brathwaite.
A little unfortunate there for Talbot at point. Obviously, he got his body behind the ball, but somewhat of an unfortunate, awkward bounce for him. Unable to get his hands up in time, and Brathwaite collects a boundary.
Now that's it with a lot of power, and that will go for 4. Down to long on. So the first 2 balls in over number 8, 2 boundaries.
Well, that's the experience of Carlos Brathwaite. That's also the long levers of Carlos Brathwaite as well. That additional stretch that he has in terms of those hands. Allow him to get through that one and hit it back down the ground quite comfortably.
Just a single. Boyce was very keen to just pull the ball down, didn't give it any air at all. Just restricting Brathwaite to a single as he plays it up to that mid-wicket area. So Eiffel, left-handed batsman. So far a decent over for the Pelicans, the 2 boundaries. But we want to continue here.
Yeah, they've lost wickets. Yes, but that rate is still relatively high for them, and it's certainly a matchup like this now in terms of left-arm spinner to left-arm batter. Will be a very interesting one with the wind blowing towards us here, towards the leg side of Eiffel. And because of that, is why we see now a man at deep mid-wicket, a man in what you consider to be cold corner, and a man at long on as well.
So just 1. So after those 2 boundaries at the start of the over, the next 2 deliveries, singles, show that Boyce was settled for that. But he's still got 2 balls to go in this over, and he's also got to contend with Carlos Brathwaite.
Yeah, you certainly can't miss his length here, can Boyce?
Well. What a shot. Easy power, using those long levers and hitting that ball high over long off. That's gone for a big, big 6. Well played, Brathwaite.
Yeah, you certainly cannot get that close to Carlos Brathwaite. Relatively flighted from Kamari Boyce as well, inviting that drive over long off. And Brathwaite now races up to 16 from 5. I mentioned the fact that he got off to a racing flyer in that last one, getting to 42 with 3 fours and 4 sixes. And he looks to be having a similar innings here as well.
So 17 runs in that over. It's been a very good over for the Pelicans. With 2 to come, it's 88 for 5.
Yeah, looking at how things have gone for the Settlers after winning the toss, they would have been happy with probably how the first 4 overs or so went for them. In fact, the first 3 overs or so went from them. But looking at that Manhattan, a couple towers are forming there, that last one, because of Carlos Brathwaite. Obviously, previous over to this from Zidane Clark, we see the 3 Stooges there, those 3 wickets that he picked up. They'll be hoping that he can come on the back of it now and really go again, if it is that they decide to go to Zidane Clark once more, because you can see a bit of a conversation ensuing at the moment for them. But yeah, it looks to be Zidane Clark to bowl his second over, and he'll be hoping that he can pick up Carlos Brathwaite here, because the momentum that he has at the moment is what's going to take them towards that mark of 120, 125, which you will look at and say, hey, this is a defendable score. If they're able to get Carlos Brathwaite here, potentially with another good over from Zidane Clark, you're looking at maybe 105 as a possible chasing target.
That assessment is spot on. This is going to be a very important over in my view, with Clark picking up 3 wickets in the last over bowl, as you said, bowling to a dangerous Carlos Brathwaite. We start over number 9. Just a single. Might have played a bit early there. So it means that Clark, I'm sure, is happy to bowl to Eiffel instead. Brathwaite a bit disappointed with that shot.
Yeah, you really should be slightly disappointed, especially given the short boundary towards the leg side for him. I mentioned the fact I did expect Zidane Clark to go into the surface at some stage, and he opted to do that towards Carlos Brathwaite. Pace on as well on that particular occasion. Will he go back to his cutters now here for Jamar Eiffel? There's a man at point, a man at backward point. There's a man to short third man as well.
This is very good bowling by Clark. Seems to be very clever in terms of his variations. First ball was hit into the pitch. Surprised Brathwaite, and now that one was wide and full and also pacey as well. So you would have been deceived by the extra pace generated by Clark, who's deceptive in pace. Now that's hit with lots of power, and that's gone for 6. Well played, Eiffel. At the bottom end of this innings, you got to do that. And that was in the air for a long time. But clearing the boundary, done it long off, that's gone for 6.
You can understand what Zidane Clark was looking to do. He was looking to execute something similar to the previous delivery in terms of going full and straight, just slightly wide as well. But just the length on that particular occasion, just a little shorter than he might have wanted.
Yeah, the length has been changed as well. The ball before was fuller, and you could see him just banging that ball into the pitch. Happy to just concede a single. Now, Brathwaite comes into strike. There are 2 balls left in the over, and we've had 8 runs so far. The last over produced 17, and Brathwaite will want to finish this over strongly, maybe with 2 boundaries. This is good bowling. Bang on target, right in the block hole, and restricting Brathwaite to just a single. So that's a good comeback delivery.
Yeah, certainly brilliant bowling from Zidane Clark. You really know that you only had 2 options on this particular occasion. Going extremely full to Carlos Brathwaite, so he could not necessarily use those long levers, or getting it extremely short in terms of getting that height on it, so that when he pulls it, it probably goes sky high. But execution there working in favor of Zidane Clark. The thing though here is now 1 delivery to go, must close it out.
Just get 1, but will be positive in their run and they get a second. This is good cricket. Long on had to come across to pick it up, moving to the right. And Boyce is not the fastest. So 2 runs from the last ball with 1 to come. The Pelicans are 99 for 5.
Yeah, good running there from Carlos Brathwaite. You saw the intent from him from the time that ball was struck off the bat of Jamar Eiffel. He knew that he needed to be the man to face the very first delivery of the final over, giving them the best opportunity to capitalize on those last 6 deliveries. That batting card looks quite good for them, especially after losing Cheyenne Brathwaite, who was the run scorer for them at the top of the order in the last one. But you can see now a better effort being made by numbers 2, 3, 4 as well from them. Gibson getting some runs, Drake's as well, a fantastic innings from him, and Albert. But Brathwaite and Eiffel now with the final 6 deliveries of this one to face.
It's Jamal Warren who's coming to the attack. Interesting that he didn't bowl 2. But he comes in to bowl the final over. Lots of experience would have played for the West Indies. And his first ball is hit with lots of power. That's a rank long hop. And that's gone a long way up at mid-wicket. That's gone for 6. That's a big, big shot from a big man.
Yeah, not the length that you probably want to be bowling to Carlos Brathwaite. And as if that ball had a date with the trees. That brings up the 100 for the Pelicans. They are now 105 for 5.
Well, get one. Should be looking to get the second. No, he won't. Didn't time it at all. Very disappointed he didn't put that ball away. And now Eiffel comes to the strike. There's 4 balls left. 106 for 5.
Yeah, this strategy very similar again from Warwican to the previous game. He bowled the last over of that last game they played. Went for 12 in that one. All in all, they were still able to restrict the Guardians to 79, but much higher than 79 here at the moment. 106 for 5 with 4 deliveries left. You're probably telling yourself that looking for at least a minimum of 2 sixes out of those 4 deliveries. Will one come off the bat of Jamar Eiffel?
Well, he's got a decision here. Would I just look to get a single and get Carlos Brathwaite back in the strike, or would I go for glory? Just a single. So Brathwaite gets strike again. So after being struck for 6 of the first ball, the next 2 producing just 2 runs. But importantly, from a Pelicans perspective, Carlos Brathwaite, 26 from 11 balls, comes in the strike. Now that's a chance for a catch, but it won't be taken. And they'll look for second, and Brathwaite now is going to be run out by a long way. In fact, it's Eiffel who's going to be run out.
Yeah, guilty of ball watching there was Jamar Eiffel. You always told yourself that Carlos Brathwaite needed to be facing these last 3 deliveries. And from the time that ball went in the air, thinking had to tell you, had to set off for 2. Carlos Brathwaite knew he needed to get back, and Jamar Eiffel stood mid-pitch. And he's got to sacrifice himself for the skipper. He goes for 11. It's 100 and...
Vitaly Wilkinson is the new batter to John Carlos Brathwaite. Vitaly Wilkinson.
So 110 for 6. They are here with 1 delivery left to go.
So Vitaly Wilkinson comes out. Last ball. Here's Warwican to Brathwaite. And Brathwaite hits it square in the offside. That's gone for a big 6. That is what he can do for you. Very well played indeed by Brathwaite, as the Pelicans end at 116 for 6. And Brathwaite, or is there one more to come? Just double checking. Just trying to confirm that. So there's 1 ball left. Okay, so we're just confirming that there's 1 left.
And this is why Carlos Brathwaite needed to be on strike.
Hits that ball with tremendous power. Is that another 6? It is! Wow, wow, wow. Beautifully played indeed. That was straight as an arrow. Power, power, and more power from Carlos Brathwaite. Some 39 from just 14 balls as the Pelicans ended 120 for 6. Thanks to a wonderful display from the man. Remember the name, Carlos Brathwaite.
Yeah, certainly fantastic ball striking from him. This is what I was talking about with that delivery where Jamar Eiffel was run out. You needed to have Carlos Brathwaite on strike, given the type of power that he possesses, given the experience that he possesses as well. And he is a part of that reason that they're now 120.
Yeah, well, Brathwaite at the top got 5, didn't stay too long, but Gibson's 17 was good. I thought Drake's batted well for his 29. Good support from Albert. And of course, losing Prasad cheaply. But then it was the work of Carlos Brathwaite, 39 from just 14 balls. And got good support from Eiffel, was run out the last over for 11. And in the end, the Pelicans reaching 124-6, thanks to some brilliant work from Carlos Brathwaite.
Yeah, they'll be happy after being inserted by the Settlers to bat first here. Wickets, well, 3 went to Clark and 2 to Marshall, and runs to everybody else in this one. So 121 is what the Settlers will need if they are to remain undefeated in this year's tournament. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, more BIM 10 action.
bike, so whoever it is. So as the umpires make their way to the middle for the second half of this encounter between the Pelicans and the Settlers looking to get up to 121 to finish this one after the Pelicans. They inserted got up to 124-6 in the 10 overs. For the Pelicans, led by Carlos Buffett, about to make their way onto the field, and for the Settlers, the opening pair of Kevin Stout and Calvert Buffett.
Well, we're back to the action here at the Desmond Haynes Oval. Second half of this first match of the afternoon. If you're just joining us, 120 for 6 is what the Pelicans were able to reach, thanks to a fantastic knock by the skipper in Carlos Brathwaite. He got a 39 from 14 deliveries, striking many sixes, especially in that final over off of Jamel Warrican. Runs also for Jonathan Drakes. He got 29, and Mario Albert, he got to 17. But it's time for the reply of the unbeaten Settlers. And you wonder, can they come up with another victory in this one? It's going to take a lot of chasing, this one, especially given some of the experienced bowling campaigners that the Pelicans have in their arsenal. And one on screen is Joshua Bishop, a young man for the future, they're saying, especially in the limited overs format, Andrew Mason.
Yep, I agree with that. He's been very good, and no doubt will want to peg his opponents back very, very early. Good variation, Joshua Bishop. Here we go, first ball. And he starts well. So Brathwaite and Stout opening the mat in. It's going to be a tall order.
Talbot Brathwaite was amongst the runs in the last one, getting the 36 from 25 balls. In fact, not out. He was there at the end of that chase versus the Guardians and played quite lovely, you would have to say. He really timed the ball in that match versus the Guardians. Yes, it's a different pitch that they're playing on, but probably expect something similar in terms of approach here.
Very well bowled indeed. He played across it.
Yeah, much quicker, much flatter there from Josh Bishop. You saw Stout though in motion to the fact that it was sliding down the leg side.
So that's the first boundary. Very experienced cricketers, Kevin Stout, hitting that ball straight, long off and long on came across. Bisecting both of them, that's gone for the first boundary.
Yeah, initial trigger movement there from Stout. So I'm create some room. Looking to probably go towards the offside, went straight down the ground instead.
More runs for Stout this time. Over extra cover, that's gone for a boundary, that's gone for 4.
Yeah, I mentioned the fact that the previous delivery looked as if he was trying to access that offside. This time, he holds his position, opens the face quite nicely and goes up and over the cover fielder. Brilliant batting from Kevin Stout.
We'll get the second run here now because a bit of a fumble from Holder coming across to his right, then that wide long on. So they got 2 for that. First over comes to an end, 11 from it.
A very productive start for them. Stout opening the batting. It was Kadeem Aline who would have opened on the previous occasion. Didn't get many that time round. In fact, though, before that, he would have been the century maker, holding the highest score in all the editions of the BIM 10 competition, Kadeem Ali. And we certainly expect to see him probably coming in maybe at 3 in this batting lineup. But Kevin Stout doing what was asked from him at the top of the order, using that experience and manipulating the field versus Josh Bishop.
So Ravindra Prasad, who's not only a very good player as a batsman, but a decent left-arm orthodox spinner, and quite suited for white ball cricket. There's no doubt about that. Very strong in his batting, and more than decent as a left-arm spinner. He's going to bowl the second over. He'll bowl to Brathwaite. Thing about it is that they play for the same club in Barbados. They both play for the Yorkshire club. This was recently promoted, so he should know Brathwaite pretty well. Talbot Brathwaite. Wasn't able to find the gap, but that was very well played. A good solid batsman he is. In fact, in the last game in the local competition at the elite level, he made 90 and looked very good. Was disappointed when he didn't get to his 100. More runs. Down to backward square. That's gone. Kevin Stout, very experienced batsman, open to the face of the bat. And that wrist across the outfield very quickly has gone for a boundary. Stout, vast experience.
Yeah, looking to be the aggressor here is Kevin Stout. Not necessarily in control of that particular one.
Now he goes for a drive. It was in there for quite a long time. And just a single. Might have contemplated going for the second. Of course, he's not as young as he used to be, not as fast as he used to be. And they just got the single.
Yeah, it looks like this is his role here in terms of being at the top of the order, Kevin Stout. Especially given the spinners who are here bowling at the moment as well.
Oh, success. Well, I told you that he knows Brathwaite very well. Going back, losing his stumps. So that's a wicket to Prasad. Brathwaite goes for 2. We're into over number 2. And look at that.
Flat, fast and accurate from Ravindra Prasad. Picking up the wicket there over Talbot Brathwaite. You mentioned that familiarity between the two of them, and he certainly knows that Brathwaite enjoys a lot of room, especially on that offside. Crapping him up, bowling that left arm over the wicket, not allowing him to get the room that he wants. Brathwaite, though, attempted to create the room, expose his stumps, and he's got to go back for 2. It's a 17 for 1, with just 1 delivery left now in the second over.
Yep. So it's 17 for 1. Have a look at that. Here we go. Yes, actually outside the line of the leg stump when he played that. Looking to get it square in the offside, loses his middle stump. The ball followed him. So very good bowling by Prasad to get rid of Brathwaite. Now Kevin Wickham comes to the crease. And these two will know each other pretty well. Kevin Wickham and Kevin Stout. They both play for the same club in Barbados, the Empire Club. Club, of course, that would have produced some of the greats of West Indies cricket. Severton, de Coursevics, the late great, would have played for that club. So the over from Prasad comes to an end. Very economical, just 6 coming from it. 2 gone at 17 for 1.
Pulling things back after what was a racing start from number 11 in that first over. That wicket, a very crucial one, given how crafty Brathwaite is, especially when he gets going into his innings. It'll be interesting to see here whether or not Kevin Stout continues to go after Bishop again in this second over.
So Bishop to continue.
A lot straighter from Bishop on this occasion. He was guilty of just giving Kevin Stout just a little bit too much room outside the off stump in that previous over. Also, the lengths probably weren't what he wanted to be bowling. Kevin Wickham, though, is somebody who enjoys using his feet, especially to the spinners. We saw him do it in the last encounter.
So Wickham gets off the mark. What will his role be here? Would he be looking to just give Stout the strike? Would he be looking to strike some blows as well? We shall see. Very good bowling indeed by Bishop. That was quick and on the stump. So Stout didn't have any room. So it's been a good over so far. 3 balls gone, just 3 runs.
I talked about the use of feet from Kevin Wickham, and we see it there from him. These pair definitely know each other well, having played many a time for the West Indies Academy. So Bishop will know that Wickham will be looking to get down the pitch to him.
Just a single. It's been a very good over indeed from Joshua Bishop. 5 singles. The last ball is about to be bowled. We'll want to finish strongly here, Joshua Bishop. And does finish very strongly indeed. An over in which 5 runs came. That will be accepted by anyone playing this cricket. And he will be extremely happy with that. So 3 gone, it's 22 for 1.
Yeah, he certainly would accept the 5 runs that came off of him in that over. He made the adjustments required because I talked about the length that he was bowling at the start of things towards Kevin Stout. Changed that length ever so. He just went a touch fuller. Also changed the lines of his delivery because with that left arm spin, you know that angle coming back into the bat was very tight on that middle and leg line, and it's really been productive for him and a really good comeback over as well.
So it's Prasad to continue to bowl to Kevin Stout.
And Shamar Holder, well, he's guilty of another misfield, and that certainly could have produced the result that they wanted had he picked it up cleanly.
Well, just a single, but again, Prasad is hitting the ball into the pitch, doesn't want to give it any air at all, and has been successful. He's an experienced campaigner. That's it, with a lot of grace and elegance. And will go for a boundary. It will go for 4 runs. Or did it carry? In fact, the umpire, I'm not quite sure, but from our vantage point, it certainly stopped in front of the boundary and went for 4. But the thing about that was the ease that we saw generated by this young man.
Yeah, sorry, just all about that timing. As a case of he made the adjustment toward in terms of creating a bit of space for himself, but in comparison to what. Look at a reverse sweep on that occasion. But yeah, just in comparison to what Brathwaite would have done in terms of looking to go backward of square, Kevin Milken looked to go in front of square. I think that was the difference in terms of producing the desired result for him on that particular occasion.
Yep. Such an easy player, times the ball beautifully. Had an opportunity to see him bat in local cricket at his club, Empire. Made 90 odd in a match against the then defending champions, and he really batted extremely well, times the ball well, and that is really the asset for him. And highly thought of. There are many people who feel he's going to go a long way. 4 gone, 28 for 1.
So even though that over contained a boundary, just 6 runs coming off of it, producing now figures of 1 for 12 from his 2 for Prasad, and his skipper Carter Brack will certainly be happy with that. But a lot of thoughts there on the mind of Jamel Warrican, who is trying to understand, how can his boys get over the line? How can they stay undefeated? Jafari Toppin, the coach alongside him there as well. The think tank for the Settlers at the moment in pursuit of what is 121 for victory for them. You can also see Kirk Edwards there as well. So probably offering a bit of advice for them. But one man who's returned to the cricketing scene, a young man who many people have time for, Shamar Holder. He's with ball in hand now. Had a couple bumbles, as you would say, in the field. He'll be looking to make good on that now with the ball.
Starts with a wide. Yeah, well, he's had challenges with injuries. And when they actually played for the West Indies against New Zealand, several commentators identified him as one to really take West Indies cricket far, but he got injuries and was out for a long time, went to England recently, and seems to be fully recovered. Actually played 1 or 2 matches for UWI in the elite competition. But it's really good to see him back playing cricket, Shamar Holder, because there's the view that if he can get it right, along with Alzari Joseph and Shamar Joseph, who's now come on the scene, that it could look rosy for West Indies cricket going forward. So it is vital that this young man can get it right. Now that was bowled with some pace and very well taken by Gibson, who was a very good keeper. Had the opportunity to see him play for Spartan in the local competition. And an excellent keeper. That was bowled with some fire.
Yeah, certainly some fire indeed. And that's what you want to see from your young fast bowlers as well. Waking up the crowd here at the Desmond Haynes Oval. But fantastic take from Teron Gibson. Using, I guess, a ladder, because he's not necessarily the tallest of lads behind the stump, is he?
Yeah, he had to jump, goalkeeper style. I think the extra pace generated by Holders causing a problem or 2 for Kevin Stout. That's the value of being quick. Ball coming on to you very quickly there. Stung on his haunches. Struck on a very sensitive part of the anatomy. So 31 for 1. She's been good so far on the over. Keeping it tight. So 90 to get from 34 balls. So you would think, when you look at this, the Pelicans are in front.
Yeah, a little close to that wide line on the offside there was Shamar Hull, but fantastic execution there from him on that particular occasion, especially given that Kevin Stout, his original movement was stepping back towards that leg side.
He was looking to make room, and Holder saw him and was very good in bowling it fast and wide. And again, the value of extra pace generated, that ball got onto Stoke quicker than he anticipated.
Yeah, hitting quite high on the bat of Kevin Stout there, and things are starting to slow down here now outside of the power play for the Settlers. And of course, backing up that over that you had from Ravindra Prasad as well in the last over the power play. So no real momentum to the innings just yet.
It's pretty clear that the extra pace is causing a problem or two to these batsmen. So interesting in the white ball cricket where there's a lot of emphasis on slower balls, lots of variations. But I'm of the view that if you can get it right with your pace, you can certainly create problems as well. Now that has found the gap. Very well played indeed, off the back foot, and playing it beautifully between square leg and mid wicket. That's a lovely shot to end the over. Look at that, on the back foot, and finding the gap on the onside. And that's an important boundary to end over number 5, and the Settlers are 37 for 1.
At the halfway stage, the Pelicans were 62 for 2, so some distance between the two, and a lot of work to be done now between the likes of Stout, Wickham. Of course, Kadeem Aline is there as well. We wondered whether or not he might come at 3. He's still in the hut, so you know for sure, looking at how things are shaping up, he has to come fairly soon given his hard-hitting abilities and exploits. But yeah, fantastic over outside of that last ball, and the last ball actually wasn't even that bad delivery as well, because it wasn't that short. It was a case of Kevin Stout was sitting back waiting on that type of delivery, because it got the lower end of the bat, but he got enough on it in terms of the timing from it. But 37 for 1, a lot of work to be done for them. 84 runs now needed from 30 deliveries.
Yep, you talked about the comparison, so certainly the Pelicans are in front, and 84 to get from 30 balls. So a lot of batting for the Settlers to do here. As you said, Kadeem Allen, he's a very good player. I would imagine will come next. So Jamar Eiffel comes into the attack. Plays for UWI in the local elite competition. Useful medium fast bowler and a decent batsman as well. He comes in against Kevin Wickham, who's struggled a bit so far.
Yeah, it's 9 from 10 for him. And every time he's looked to really muscle the ball, he's struggled, Kevin Wickham.
And that's good work. Had that gone past the field at short third man Albert, I think it had the timing that it could have gone to the boundary. So that was a timely save as Albert moved to his right.
Yeah, that's what you need certainly to back up the efforts of your bowlers. It was a good lifting delivery. Kevin Wickham got on top of it, opened the face quite nicely, but given how quickly the outfield ran, you certainly knew that had it passed Mara Albert, it would have found its way into the boundary. Just those small moments that keep the pressure on. And just looking at how things are going at the moment for the Settlers, you just wonder, what was the thinking behind not allowing Kadeem Aline either one to open or to come at 3, because you're knowing that, hey, yes, there is time, but there's not that much time in the 10 over format, and it's always really about that start. And if you can really get yourself off to a rocking start, and that's what Kadeem Aline can do for you, because even if he doesn't get off to that start, he doesn't waste many deliveries either, does Aline.
Oh, that's very well played indeed. And, well, in fact, Wickham thought the ball had actually gone to the boundary and didn't bother to run. They would have had about 2 or 3 instead. They just got 1. What happened there?
Yeah, a case of taking things for granted on that particular occasion. Yes, he got it, not necessarily the best, but he got it into the space, and obviously a case of thinking they would have gone to the boundary, maybe hit somewhat of a crack out there, but great fielding on the boundary.
This is good bowling.
Yeah, you talk about moments within a game. We talked about the fielding effort of Albert, and that was a moment that kept the pressure on. And then in terms of the running, they had a chance to pick up 2, possibly pick up 3. And because of the lack of intensity, because of thinking, well, it would have crossed the boundary, just ended up with 1. And it's just these small moments, once again, that, like I say, like help to shift the momentum in a game.
Just a single again. It's been a good over by Eiffel, an over in which just 4 runs came. And it's now 6 gone. It's 41 for 1.
A lot of work here to be done in these last 24 balls for the Settlers. They now need 80 runs if they're going to remain undefeated. And at the moment, you're not really seeing where it will come from, given that Stout, yes, at the top of things, looked quite good. He had an over where he took 11 off of Bishop, but since then they've not really been finding the boundaries, and looking at 121, it looks a long way off for them as those spectators are gathered in the lovely sunshine of this Tuesday, January 2nd afternoon in Barbados. It's certainly lovely to have them here. It was wonderful to see the crowd over the weekend as well as we progress through this tournament towards that final. We certainly expect a bumper crowd to be here.
Yeah, well, it's a lovely ground, of course. In terms of spectators coming to the Israel, you've got the trees on the far side of the ground. There's a pavilion as well. So Jaden Edmond comes into the attack. Would have played for Barbados at the under 19 level. Lovely ground, Desmond Haynes Oval, named after the best cricketer. In fact, also the club of 1 or 2 current cricketers playing for the West Indies. Kyle Mears plays for this club. Some familiarity too in terms of Edmund, because he plays for the same club as Kevin Stout and also Kevin Wickham. They all play for the Empire Club. Very useful cricketer is Edmund. Well, that's gone a long way. Wasn't fooled by the change of pace. That's gone on top of the pavilion over my wicket. That's very well hit by Wickham. But a lot of work still to be done. They need a lot more of those kind of shots if they're going to win this.
Yeah, you just wonder if that's the start of things to come for them. He was struggling to time deliveries before, was Kevin Wickham. Held back his shot, and that's where the execution came from, because it was an off-pace delivery, the off-cutter from Edmund. He waited a bit more, Kevin Wickham, made that required adjustment and deposited it onto the roof. A lovely shot for him, and hopefully it could be the first of many in the pursuit of another victory for the Settlers.
So 73 to get from 22 balls. It's an equation that is daunting, but you never know. Cricket is a funny game. Just a single. They need boundaries here. And your point about Allen is very valid. Can't have your most valuable player with just 10 overs available, not bad. Got to make a decision as to maybe, given the kind of score, because they had to score at 12, to maybe get him start or come at 3, or certainly not at 5 or 6. And bowls him. That's what happens with the pressure applied here. Lots of runs still to be get, and very well bowled indeed. Stout plays across it, loses his middle stump as well, and further trouble for the Settlers. They're now 49 for 2.
Well, the pressure is certainly producing results here for the Settlers. Pace on from Jaden Edmond. We saw what happened when pace was off. Pace on and went full. And Stout looking to push on. Well, he's got to press towards the pavilion. He goes for 27. It's 49 for 2.
So Demetrius Richards comes to the crease. Little man, left-handed batsman. Has done reasonably well at the local level as well.
Well, with Richard striding towards the crease, you have to tell yourself that there is probably something wrong with Kadeem Ali. Now, why we haven't seen that probably might be, the explanation as to why he's not come out to bat. Because obviously, given the situation, you certainly would not be holding him back at this stage. But a lot of work to be done for them, and you really start to calculate things in terms of maximum. So Kevin Wickham hit 1 in the previous over. Can they hit another 8 of those? That's 48 runs from that 72. That will leave another 12 deliveries to get the remaining runs. And this is where the struggle will ensue probably from them, because it's a case of having to go from ball 1 here now for Richards, whether or not it's go in terms of getting Wickham back onto strike or go in terms of looking to find the boundaries for himself.
That first ball bowled by Edmund had some pace on it, and it deceived Richards with the pace generated. But he's trying to be cute and looks ugly as he tried to paddle that ball away. But this has been a very good performance, good defense of a decent score. 7 gone, it's 49 for 2, and the Settlers have been unsettled.
Yeah, certainly not looking like the championship side that we've seen across this tournament. They've done well in terms of setting totals, have the Settlers. They chased well in that last game versus the Guardians, but albeit it was a low score of 70 odd that they were going after. Here looking at 121 to get for them, posing to be a bit more of a challenge, especially in the face of not having the type of start that they have been accustomed to. So probably something for them to look at, and a challenge that you would want to have relatively early in a tournament in comparison to when you get to that semi-final or final stage. A comparison of those worms in terms of one looking as if, they had breakfast and lunch and really sprightly, and the other one just looking a little, lifeless at the moment, but still time for them if they can find those boundaries, if Kevin Wickham can get going.
Well, he's got very little time to do it. He's really got to get a move on here, because at the moment, things are not looking good at all for his side. He's at 18 runs, but 14 deliveries. So the equation now, 72 to get from the last 3 overs. That's a big ask. And Shamar Holder's back. The umpire, Willoughby, took a long time to give that a wide, but in the end, perhaps the right call. It was banged in short. But the thing about that delivery was the pace generated by Shamar Holder.
It's a bit too short on that particular occasion from Holder.
We get away with that, but again, the pace generated was a great deal, and the ball hurried onto him, hit it high in the splice, and you'll get a second run. But again, all aggression coming from Holder there. Banged in short.
Yeah, you understand that's probably ploy from him to Kevin Wickham, not looking to get that ball much further, especially given that Kevin Wickham enjoys striding out, playing the ball back down the ground. Obviously, that shorter delivery posing a bit more of a challenge, especially given the pace that Shamar Holder has as well. He also has protection in the deep in terms of a man at a corner, which is actually being adjusted now, and a man at deep backward square leg also. And that corner comes into play now, so certainly bowling to his field, Shamar Holder at the moment.
I think the settlers, they've now resigned to the fact they're not going to win this. It would take a miracle and a half for them to win this. There's no doubt about that. 68 to get from 16 balls. Lots of wickets in hand, but the problem is the rate is high.
Yeah, certainly deeper you get, the more sixes required. So looking at that target of 68 from 16, you know, probably telling yourself that you're looking in the range of maybe 8 to 10 sixes if they are to get towards that. And yes, in the context of the game, it is possible, it is gettable, what we've seen across T10 tournaments, what we've seen across T20 tournaments. But to have to consistently strike the ball like that, that poses the problem.
Very difficult assignment. And again, that ball was bowled with lots of pace. And the keeper took it. You could see the head just going back as the ball thudded into his gloves. Ball with good pace. And I'm sure all West Indians will be quite happy to see Shamar Holder fit and bowling quickly as well. Very good to see him.
Yeah, certainly. It's a wonderful sight to have him back on the park. It's been a long journey from recovery for him.
Should see him in the regional competition, which I understand is going to be starting at the end of January. Barbados will host, I'm told, 3 matches played at the 3Ws Oval. Of course, with Kensington Oval being refurbished, preparing for the finals of the World Cup, which is scheduled for January the 29th, the region's Mecca. Barbados' home games, I'm told, will be played on top of the hill at Cave Hill. That's the 3Ws Oval. 3 rounds of matches.
To that one, Andrew, you said January, you mean down in June? You said the final.
Oh, the finals,
yes.
June. Did I say January?
Yes, you did.
Okay, June. Sorry, June the 29th.
Made my heart skip a couple beats there.
Yeah, June the 29th, that's the date for the finals. Have you heard that as well?
I heard it from you just now.
Indeed. Yeah, I'm told it's June the 29th. Barbados will be hosting England, I'm told, as well. Big game, Australia up against England at Kensington. Looking forward to that. 55 for 2. Still awaiting that big itinerary from Cricket West Indies. Here we go. Last ball of over number 8, bowled by Holder. Pace. As Richards doesn't seem to like it. He's got to live up to that big name, Richards. Looks very awkward as he plays that. So 8 gone. The Settlers in big trouble. They're 55 for 2.
Yeah, certainly nothing really going for the Settlers after what was a decent enough start for them. Wickets certainly are not the problem, but it's that runs. That runs column not shaping up, and a lot of thoughts going on there between captain and coach at the moment in terms of maybe not a case of how can they recover here, but what can they do differently in the next one. Of course, they will be missing the likes of Kadeem Ali in this particular match. You just wonder whether or not, you know, like I said, it's an injury to him or something else at the moment as to why we've not seen him. And certainly that is a big part of the puzzle for them. So as long as there's nothing in terms of serious damage to Kadeem Ali, we can expect to maybe see him in the next match, and that will be, you know, a big difference for their ability to really get that run rate up, get those runs going. But they would also love that somebody in the likes of a Kevin Wickham could also get going. Because 22 from 17, yes, it's runs for him, but you need to be scoring at a quicker rate. So with 12 deliveries left for Kevin Wickham, how many boundaries can he get from those 12? Because I tell myself he has to face the bulk of the strike here at the moment.
So Edmund to continue. Goes through the fielder. And they look for a third here and will get it.
Yeah, Shamar Holder has not had the best of times in the field. He's bowled well with the ball in hand. He's had a few occasions where he's let a couple slip through the hands, a couple occasions where they had a chance for a run out as well. He would know that he can certainly do a lot better than that. Probably just a case of lifting his eyes off the ball a little bit too early in pursuit of that one, trying to affect the run out. In the context of the game, no damage done, but certainly an area that he will want to improve on as we head deeper into this tournament.
Yeah, Richards has really struggled. He's faced 6 balls for just a run. And not being able to get bat on the ball here.
Yeah, something that we're seeing is that he's really moving around the crease a lot, whether or not he's looking to create space or create angles towards that leg side. He's really unable to get bat onto ball. Probably just needs to stay a bit stiller there at the crease.
Just get a single again. Holder is not keeping his eyes on the ball, and they get a second run. Well,
he's berating himself as he heads back towards long on, because that one was a lot easier in terms of the ability to pick it up. A bit of a smile at the end for him as well. And there's that movement again I'm talking about from Richards. Really not setting a base for himself. And yes, we know that that movement does set off the bowlers in terms of their lines, in terms of their lengths. But it's a case of he's been unable to put bat onto ball. So what is the best chance for him getting bat onto ball? Set that base and look to swing from the hips, as they would say.
will he possibly get a boundary here? He will. Top edge. But they need more than that, really. Ball banged in short. And it went away fine. That finally I gave that score for 4. But he's really struggled, Richards. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, a case of beating for pace on that occasion. That ball coming off the top edge and producing a result that they've wanted for quite some time, the Settlers.
So, 9 overs bowled now, and the Settlers are 64 for 2.
Well, the Pelicans and skipper Carlos Brathwaite can look back on this one and say that they've truly executed what they've come here to do in this first match. Match number 11. One of 2 to be played here today. Yes, runs on the board for Kevin Stout, but when you look at the ball's face, definitely not what they're looking at in terms of strike rate. Kevin Wickham as well runs on the board from 25 from 18, but in pursuit of 121. It certainly needed to be a lot quicker in terms of the ball striking. 7 from 10 for Richards. So all in all, not looking like the card that the Settlers have become accustomed to seeing in this BIM 10 tournament, and that worm well. Still looking a bit limp, and you do know that they will not be getting over the end of the line here with too much required. 57 now needed from 6, unless something untoward happens out of the hand.
So the final over is going to be bowled. And it's Vitaly Wilkinson who will bowl the last over. No pressure for him whatsoever because they require 57. Well, the first ball is hit for 6. And that was very well struck indeed by Wickham.
Short and wide from Vitaly Wilkinson. Yes, in the grand scheme of things, should he get hit for 6 sixes, yes, they will still get over the line. But you really want to ensure that you're clinical in your finishing, and that's not the type of delivery that you want coming down the first ball of the 10th over. Short and wide of the off stump. Kevin Wickham, though, would have enjoyed that one, and it's a case of using this now for him. A little straighter in terms of the line on that particular occasion. But yeah, it's all about closing out the games, because yes, even though the result is a foregone conclusion, you certainly want to be looking and seeing, okay, who can bowl my final over? It's a case of also looking at that net run rate, which probably will come into play at some stage as we head towards the semi-final encounters and deciding those positions in terms of first, second, third, and fourth.
That's a good shot. Very good shot indeed. All timing. Right long hop. And if you know Kevin Wickham, really the beauty in his batting is his timing. And that was hit over mid-wicket. Tremendous shot from a player highly talented.
Yeah, certainly doesn't have the pace to be bowling that length, Vitaly Wilkinson, especially to the likes of Kevin Wickham, who enjoys freeing his arms like that.
Again, the thing about that shot was actually the placement. Beautifully played indeed. Mind you, you've got the long off, you've got the mid-wicket, and he split the field with surgical precision. Look at that. A beauty. 4 more runs to Kevin Wickham. And all of a sudden he goes into the 40s.
Well, a fantastic shot to close things out from Kevin Wickham. It takes him to 47, but in the end, not enough for the Settlers, who now get their first loss of this year's BIM 10 tournament. Regal striking, you would have to say, from him in this final over, and probably the type of form that you'd be hoping to carry in to the latter stages of this tournament. But in the end, the Pelicans, they come out on top. 120 is what they got to in their 10 overs, and in reply, the Settlers 86 for 2 in 10. Andrew, what have you made about this last one?
Well, I thought that the batting of Carlos Brathwaite was important towards the end because it got his side up to that 120. And in the end, they started very well with Joshua Bishop. And despite the fact that the Settlers weren't losing wickets, the run rate was not great. And it just really took Kevin Wickham, who started slowly, to get going. But the game was already lost. And one would have to congratulate the Pelicans because I thought their performance in terms of the batting was very good, in that Carlos Brathwaite got 1 or 2 cricketers with 20s and 30s, and then a bit of a slow start. In fact, when you look at that, Brathwaite 39, got good support from Drakes, who got 29, Gibson 17, and Albert 17. They did very well. Clark was brilliant, 3 for 14 from his 2 overs. But then, when the Settlers batted, Stoke got to 27, Richards just got 7 from as many as 10 balls, and Brathwaite struggled a bit. Wickham was a bit slow at the start, making 47 from 24. But you really would have to give it to someone like a Prasad, who was good, picking up 2 for 12, make that 1 for 12 from his 2 overs. Edmund was good pace. And Shamar Holder, good to see him bowl with tremendous pace. His 2 overs cost 15 runs. And a good victory for the Pelicans by 34 runs.
Yeah, good victory for them. So that brings us to the end of the first match. Coming up at 2:30, it's going to be Guardians versus the Voyagers. So we'll see you then.
somebody.